Hey, welcome back. Today we are going to talk about the Finnflier, or the Aerojav, and the Turbojavelin. All right, real quick thank you to Michelle Rhodes. She is a Catholic Youth Organization Javelin coach, and she asked me to talk about the Turbojavelin and the Finnflier. I'm going to start out with the Turbojavelin. Obviously, Turbojavelin does not look like a javelin. It looks more like maybe a missile. It's got the fins in the back, and then in the nose here, it's got this little rubbery nose. So it's a relatively safe implement. Javelin, the Turbojav was invented by Tom Petronoff, former world record holder in the Javelin, relatively well-known name in the Javelin world. He invented this really just to get kids throwing, and I think it's worked. So many American kids have baseballs, they have footballs, but at the time there wasn't really anything that would introduce them to a javelin. So this was the introductory to javelin throwing. Some of the things I like about this is that it is safe. I can use this on a turf field. You can see we've got folks out here on the turf playing soccer and doing some other things. I can actually have my athletes go out and throw for an hour throwing turbo javelins, because I can have confidence that they're not going to injure themselves by, accidentally sticking themselves with a javelin. So I like the safety aspect of this. Some of the things that I have as far as concerns would be the fins on the tail, because as a javelin thrower, our goal is to throw it straight, and this javelin will auto-correct itself once it gets up into the air. If you throw it hard enough, it will auto-correct. Now, it definitely will fly farther if you throw it through the point, but even if you miss the point, the fins will create drag and stabilize and create the more of a straight flight in the Turbo Javelin. All right, one other concern I have about the Turbo Javelin is its size. It's obviously very short, and so as you're throwing a real javelin, you can see the nose of a real javelin here. As you're looking out at your target, you can't see the nose, so it's really hard to determine what direction that javelin is facing. And for a brand new javelin thrower who's actually throwing this, the age is relatively young, they don't have a sense of direction for the javelin in the first place. So the idea is you can't see it, so you're going to have to learn how to throw through the point without actually having a visual indication of the direction that the javelin is facing. If you want to support this free content, please go to my website, coachhalley.com, and there you will find all kinds of drills and exercises and a brand new online javelin course called Javelin Technique with Coach Halley. All right, one other thing to note about the Turbo Javelin is, because it is so short, kids have the ability to move it around quite a lot during the throwing process, which means they can get away with carrying the javelin really, really low or really far behind them, and at the last second make a correction in the direction that it's facing to produce a straight throw. So what we find in the younger generation, they'll start throwing they'll start carrying the javelin from really, really low positions, and then they'll pick it up. Once they graduate onto a longer javelin, that's almost impossible for them to do. It's a lot heavier, but it's a lot more awkward to maneuver at the last second of their throw. All right, let's talk a little bit about the Finnflier, or the Aerojav. Duncan Atwood brought these in from Finland, so thank you, Duncan. Another great product. This thing came in as an alternative to throwing the Turbo Javelin. Obviously, it looks much more like a spear. It's also safe, or safer. It's got a hard plastic nose, but it's not sharp. Also the tail, plastic, not sharp. And so I can also throw this on the synthetic turf, and I have confidence that my javelin throwers are not going to spear each other. Now, some of the things that I really, really like is this thing will fly in a straight line if you throw it in a straight line, which to me makes it a great training tool to throw through the point. In fact, much of my earlier throwing, when this thing was originally put onto the market, I spent a lot of time throwing this because I was coming back from a shoulder injury, and I spent a fair amount of time just trying to learn how to fly the javelin correctly. This 450 grams allowed me to throw more reps and concentrate on throwing through the point. All right, so concerns about the Finnflier. The Finnflier is flexible, and in hot weather, it becomes even more flexible. If you don't store these properly, they will bend and they will retain that bent shape. So periodically, you're gonna have to go through the process of straightening this. Not a huge deal, but you're gonna have to do something to maintain its ability to fly straight. If you have it bent in any way, so if it's bent bulging here in the middle, then when you throw, the Javelin is going to fly very, very odd. It's gonna look like it's really flapping in the wind. So you need to make sure that you do as best of a job as you can to make sure that it's straight. Second concern, the cord. I'm showing you the plastic version. Duncan will actually wrap the cord, so he'll replace this with a regular cord, so you get a little bit more of that realistic tactile feeling of the Javelin cord. But you can get away with putting a little athletic tape here and giving a little bit more traction. But overall, the Finnflier has been a great addition to the throwing community. Not only safety concerns with a regular Javelin, but also you can take this and fit this into your car. It's lighter, so it's less pressure on the body. And of course, it's a great training tool because you can practice actually throwing it straight and it won't auto-correct on you. Well, just to summarize, I really like having these other implements to throw. I think it's fantastic to get the younger generation throwing and thinking about throwing the Javelin. So really appreciate Tom Petronoff, Turbo Javelin, and Duncan Atwood for bringing the Finnflier in. So if you like videos like this, please subscribe, hit that bell notification so each time I post a new video, you will get notified. And until I see you next time, have fun and throw far.